What's going on, guys? Here to talk a little bit of Odell Beckham Jr., little fantasy football news that's kind of dancing around news wires, talk about rankings, do a little Q&A. The usual here on a Monday night. So hit me with it. What do you got? I wanted to talk a little bit about the fact that Odell Beckham Jr. is kind of he's causing a little controversy on my Instagram feed. Why? Because I have I've suggested that he could be, in my opinion, the number one fantasy football wide receiver in 2019. So I'm predicting that in bold fashion. Would I draft Odell Beckham Jr. number one? No, I would not. You take him where you can get him. You take him where you see his ADP fall, which is about 2.01 to 2.03. You don't take him any higher than you have to. But Odell Beckham Jr., what's up, guys, has the potential to be the number one fantasy football wide receiver in 2019. I think it's very, 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 very likely if he stays healthy. What he's done with Eli Manning has been amazing. He now enters in a situation where he is going to be getting the football thrown to him by one of the best up-and-coming passers in the league and one of the most aggressive and exciting offenses in the NFL. An offense that will mirror Kansas City in terms of how it kind of jumps onto the map. And when you have a lot of people saying, hey, what's going on, San? What's going on, guys? What's going on, Lewis? You have a lot of people saying, oh, there's too many mouths to feed in there. They won't spread the ball around enough. There's not going to be enough production. This and that. Like, people aren't looking at the fact that this team can't be judged off last year. You can't look at, what's up, Daryl? You can't look at Cleveland and say, hey, this is how they're going to score based on last year. They're going to do things differently. And they didn't have Odell Beckham Jr. last year. So how the hell are you going to judge Baker Mayfield off his stats from last year, judge the offense on their stats from last year, judge Nick Chubb even off the stats from last year when they didn't have one of the best players in fantasy football in the NFL, best NFL players on the roster? They're going to be a different team with Odell Beckham Jr. So to judge them off of past stats is ridiculous. Baker Mayfield is going to score a ton of points. I would not be shocked if Baker Mayfield finished as the number 3 QB in fantasy. If Baker Mayfield threw for 36 to 38, 39 TDs, ran for 3, 4, 5, and was well over 42 total TDs. 15 of those, I predict, will at least go to Odell Beckham Jr. I think 10 or so will go to NJoku. I think David NJoku is one of the best sleeper tight end, breakout tight ends in fantasy football in 2019. What's up, Outsiders? Thank you, Seth. Baker was ranked, I believe, 10th on Fantasy Pros and going for $5 in the auction pricing. That is ridiculously awesome. That's why you can get him in 6 and 7. Let the haters hate. I love when people crapped all over my Pat Mahomes prediction in 2018. Pat Mahomes was number one on my bold predictions, and I only cranked out, I believe it was 12 to 13 last year. I didn't crank out 100 stabs in the dark. Oh, yeah, he was on my bold predictions list. Here's 50 of them. No, I crank out between 10 and 13, maybe 14 at the most bold predictions. Put them on a board, lock them in week one during kickoff. Most of them are written well before mid-off season. And the Pat Mahomes one was the number one written first to post on the bold predictions. And I wrote it before Pat Mahomes even had the starting job, that he would be a top 5 fantasy QB, and that got ripped apart. Baker Mayfield is in the same boat. Baker Mayfield is in the same shoes. Baker Mayfield will be in the same kind of aggressive offense that explodes onto the scene. And people are going to say, yeah, I kind of felt that coming, but for whatever reason, people are doubting that they're going to explode to the degree I think they will explode. Baker Mayfield, people are thinking, yeah, he's coming, just like people saw Mahomes coming. But people don't realize or are willing to accept that he could be in for a 38, 39 passing TD season. He could be. He could hit 40. I would not be shocked. Answer some of these questions. You called that, Smitty, believe it or not, I only drafted one QB in my league, and that guy was Mahomes for $3, and people laughed at you. Well, who's laughing now? My one and only hot take for 2019 is that Derrick Henry will lead the league in rushing yards, says Seth. Seth, that is a bold prediction. I respect it. Even if I don't agree with it, I still respect it. And I love when people put their balls on the line, especially if it's cold calculated and, they believe in it. So I'm okay with that. The outsider says, talking about Mayfield, I assume, outsider says, given his high ADP and the fact that he can't stay healthy, we talk about Odell. Do you have any concerns? He plays. Okay, so outsiders, I've talked a lot about this. I don't mind repeating it because you can't watch everything that I crank out, so I don't expect you to know everything that I've said. But we're talking about a guy that a lot of people are tagging as very, very injury prone, and I think for good reason. You have good reason to be concerned about him. For me, when I avoid a player, there's got to be a ton of concerns and red flags, I call them. James Conner, tons of them. Gurley, tons of them. You guys have heard me beat a dead horse on both of those. I'm not going to talk about it. Don't worry. But with Odell Beckham Jr., all of his red flags went away. The only red flag there is injury. And if you are worried about that, yeah, I can understand why you might not want to invest in him when you can get it. Mike Evans, who, has some injury-prone potential as well. There's a lot of guys that have that injury tag. I think anybody in the second round that has top 5 at their position upside has risk. Look at Antonio Brown. He has risk. Look at Mike Evans. He has a little bit of injury risk. He's been rather healthy, but he's played banged up a lot. And there is an injury tag attached to Mike Evans, whether you want to agree with it or not. I'm not saying that I necessarily buy into that either. I love Mike Evans. Dalvin Cook, huge injury risk. Nick Chubb, bust potential, even though I love Nick Chubb. I'm just saying all of these guys have risk in the second round. So Odell Beckham Jr. has risk too. Name a lot of guys in that second round that don't have a ton of risk. You know what I mean? So for me, if I'm drafting Odell as a top 1 to 5 or a top 1 to 5 overall player, which is his potential in PPR, then there is a lot of risk. But I feel like people don't recalibrate or reset their valuation of a player when that scale tips from heavy amount of risk and the upside isn't quite there to boom, the risk, the reward far outweighs the risk. And people haven't recalibrated or readjusted on Odell Beckham Jr. Odell has top 5 overall potential in PPR. He does, whether you like him or not, whether he failed you in the past or not. Odell has top 5 overall, not just top 5 wide receiver, overall potential in fantasy football PPR. He does. And I get it if you want to run away from the injury concern. I won't blame you. I won't make you take a lap. I understand it. It's one of those things I can firmly say I get it and I wouldn't judge you for it. But all of the other red flags disappeared. Eli Manning gone. Insert Baker Mayfield. Some of the attitude problems, could they emerge again? He's Odell, sure, he's dramatic, but I believe that a lot of the the shenanigans and the attitude problems will vanish. He's with his best friend in Jarvis Landry. Those guys are like 2 peas in a pod, and now they're together. Odell, in the past, probably would have been pissed off not getting the ball. Why? Because in New York, they weren't winning. In Cleveland, they will win. So I can envision right now a happier Odell when he's not getting fed the football because they're winning. He cares about winning. He cares about winning a Super Bowl. He cares about proving people that he can be a team player and help a team win, not just score points, not just get stats on the board for him. He will be a motivated player that is excited to win football games. So when he's not having his way, if they're winning, he's going to be ear-to-ear grin. I can picture it now. Now, will there be dramatic scenes if he doesn't get the ball in a certain situation and they lose, or what if they struggle here or there? Yeah, I mean, of course. But a happy Odell, in my opinion, is going to be a very productive Odell. A happy Odell will be an Odell that may not sit out a game if he's a little dinged up. He may play. Odell, happy, seems to be a very hardworking off-season version of himself. And an off-season, hardworking version of himself is a less likely Odell to get hurt because he's in shape. He's preparing properly. He's motivated. He's working extremely hard to stay in shape, to stay physical, to stay ready. And to me, that means he is a less likely candidate to get hurt in 2019. Smitty, how about this auction? Baker, Cook, Montgomery, Odell Beckham Jr., A.B. Hill. I love that, Sam. That's amazing. And I'm going to be careful how I say this because apparently I made someone feel bad, I think, based on what other people were telling me, because I missed the live chat yesterday. I was going nuts on that mock draft, and I didn't get to read I didn't get to read a tenth of the comments because you guys are blowing that chat up, which was awesome. You guys rock. But apparently I told someone that because they had an amazing team, I was like, what are you drafting with your grandma? That's a compliment. I meant that as a compliment, meaning you dominated your league mates so much so that I feel like you're playing with people just at a glance. You must be playing with your grandma and your cousin. That is a compliment. So outsiders, I feel like you must be drafting with a group of family members when you have a team like that, or in a 4-team league. Not to rip on you, that is my compliment to you, saying, wow, how the hell did you get that team if it is a 12-team league or even a 10? And how the hell did you get that if you're playing with experienced fantasy football owners? Outsiders, thanks for talking about the risk sold. Now, don't buy them at every league. I don't recommend anybody buy anybody in every league unless you're getting somebody at a very, very low risk. Like Jalen Samuels, I'll probably own in like 80 to 90% of my leagues. Actually, Jalen Samuels and Benny Snell together, I'll probably own in about 80 to 90% of my leagues because the risk is not big. The reward is through the roof, but the risk is very little. Even if I miss on all those leagues, I'm getting I'm getting Snell and Jalen Samuels at a value that it isn't going to kill anybody if they don't land. I'm missing some of these comments, so please repost if I missed it. Would you rather have Tyreek Hill or Odell? Again, don't put all your eggs in one basket. So if you're in a scenario where you can get one in one league and one in the other, that's pretty good. That's pretty awesome. But push comes to shove, Odell, man, I wouldn't take him higher than I have to, but Odell and Tyreek Hill and Odell and Mike Evans, Odell and, near Mike Thomas, that's not reaches. You're not reaching when you're picking them at that range. So when push comes to shove, I'm taking the guy I predict to be the number one wide receiver. I'm not taking him any higher than I have to, but that's a good spot. That, you're talking about Tyreek Hill's going around his spot. So all day long, if I'm picking just one of them. Hot take from Tone. Tone says, hot take, Le'Veon finishes higher than Saquon. And while let me get something off my chest. I feel like I've got to be, and you guys can just say, I know you're going to say yes, Smitty, but I mean, honestly, I don't mind you telling me honestly. I feel like I'm one of the boldest but accurate, boldest fantasy football analysts in the business, and I have been for 15 years running. Even with as bold and crazy as I could be at times, when I feel passionate, when I get that gut instinct. Yeah, I use a lot of stats, guys. I'm not a gut-driven only guy. I use a lot of stats, a lot of reason, a lot of logic, a lot of multiple things adding up together to equal something, and then I use my gut instinct. My gut instinct drives everything. If you don't have a gut instinct that you can count on, that you perfect and craft over the years, you're not going to be that elite fantasy football owner. You have to learn to craft that skill. You have to be able to say to yourself, okay, hey guys, please hit that thumbs up. We got 25 to 35 people in here. Please hit that. I appreciate it. It helps the show. It helps people know that are looking for live content right now that this show is out there, and it'll serve it to more people. So craft your gut instinct. How do you craft your gut instinct? Trial and error, number one. Number two, you support it with other things. So I always tell people, like in the case of James Conner, I'm not going to talk about James Conner, actually. I'm going to talk about Jalen Samuels. In the case of Jalen Samuels, it's not just the gut instinct I get when I see him play. It's that his former college coach is now the Pittsburgh Steelers running back coach. It's the fact that Conner broke down. All those things together, added to my gut instinct, makes me say Jalen Samuels is a slam dunk prediction, at least at the value. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Nothing gets hurt. Benny Snell is an additional safety guard addition to that prediction, because together I think one of them will be starting games. If not, they'll, let's say Samuels got hurt and then Snell goes in there and blows up, because I like Benny Snell in that offense. He fits perfectly into it. But my gut instinct tells me that one of those two, Snell or Samuels, is going to start a significant amount of games in 2019. Now, do I just go off my gut? No, I don't. Because if you just go off your gut, you're going to win some and lose some, and you're going to be a 50-50 bold prediction artist. when you factor in a bunch of the other crap and you make sure you back up your gut instinct, you get to sort and sift through a lot of your bold stuff and figure out what's real, what's not, what has a more likely chance of landing. Now, if your gut is crap, you're not going to land anything just because you're sifting through your best crap. If all of it's crap, nothing's going to land. But if you are one of those people, it's like, God, I have a good gut instinct, but maybe I'm not factoring in the coach. And the coach is going to screw me, and you're going to be wrong, but not wrong. You're wrong because it didn't work out, but you're not wrong because the talent was there. I'll be honest with you. I struggled with that my first couple of years in the business because I had an amazing gut instinct for guys from the beginning. But what I let cloud me, I'd have one amazing year, and then I'd have one okay year. I've had a couple, maybe one or two really, years where I'm like, man, I can't wait for next season. And that's from injuries. That's a lot of things happen. That's not just me missing on a gut instinct, but a gut instinct call, my bold predictions that I've done for 15 years. But what I think got me to perfect it was to realize all the outside factors that I need to consider before I lock something in as a bold prediction or lock something in as a, hey, I'm going to go after this guy in a ton of leagues. And you have to figure out that for yourself. So once you start mastering your gut, I forget what the question was. I didn't mean to go off on a huge tangent here. You said something about, I don't know, hot take Le'Veon Bell. Oh yeah, hot take Le'Veon Bell. That's what triggered me. So Tone is saying that hot take, he thinks Le'Veon Bell will score higher than Saquon. So as big and bold and crazy as people say I am on stuff, I appreciate bold predictions, whether I agree with them or not. The only thing I go after is when people aren't logical, like taking David Johnson #1 or something like that. Like, that's not logical. You can like it. You can say, hey, I think DJ finishes #1, and I'm going to take him at 5 and steal him away from everybody. But to pick him #1 wouldn't be logical. So I'll argue. You'll hear me be passionately argumentative with people on a non-logical thing. But if you say Le'Veon Bell is going to be the #1 running back, who the hell am I to say that can't happen? Do I hit everything? No. That could be the one thing out of 10 things that I don't get right, and I get 90% of the other 10 things right, and I have a great year, but I didn't get the Lev Bell call. Like, so who am I to say Lev Bell can't be the #1 running back? Anybody close-minded on a logical, but maybe not a prediction they agree with, is taking a path of self-destruction in fantasy football. If you're so close-minded that you can't at least accept somebody's bold prediction or somebody's logical thought process for saying, hey, I think Mike Evans will be the #1 wide receiver. How could you say that? Devontae Adams was the most consistent wide receiver in 2019, you idiot. Like, the stances people have are ridiculous sometimes. I'm like, like my Odell Beckham Jr., I posted on Instagram. I've literally got half of the people saying, Smitty, this is moronic. How do you have Odell Beckham Jr. as your #1 wide receiver? And they don't read or listen to anything I say. They'll look at it. They'll think I'm telling people to draft in #1 for wide receivers. I'm not. If you look at my content, I say he's going to be the #1 wide receiver in my prediction, but take him where you can. Do not take him higher than you have to, which means you steal him away at 2.01, 2.02, 2.03 in your draft. And you walk away with a guy that has very low risk because he probably earns that 2.01, 2.02, and 2.03 value even on a slightly disappointing season, or a season he does well, but maybe doesn't get acclimated right and he starts off slow. Odell Beckham Jr. still earns that kind of value at 2.01, 2.03, whatever. But if you hit a home run, then Odell Beckham Jr. wins you a league. And so that's why you maximize your value and you take him where you can. Taking him any earlier than you have to is moronic. And it closes the door on that upside that you have if you are to take him, where you can have a lot of like ceiling value. But my point again is that people that are so close-minded that they can't see that something like that can happen. So on Instagram, that's where I was going with this. On Instagram, do you guys like these lives versus like a totally planned out show? I'm doing both, but I feel like it's fun to like talk to you guys about like what's going on my mind. Talk about one or two topics passionately, and then answer questions as we go. I know I'm not getting to all the questions because you guys ask a lot of them, but do you guys like this kind of feel, or do you guys like the more planned out shows more? What do I think of Lamar Miller? He's okay. I'd say more of like a bench guy that you may use as your flex, but not a guy I would start at my flex. The only problem is I get so sidetracked. I go like 400 degrees left, and then I can't get back. Odell Beckham Jr. Oh, so Instagram. So I posted that on Instagram. I get half of the people saying, "Smitty, you're a moron. I can't believe you think Odell's gonna get hurt. You idiot." That, and it's my bold prediction. I said, bold prediction. Odell Beckham Jr. is going to be #1 in fantasy football. It's not a hot take. It's what I really feel, but it is a hot topic. So it comes off as a hot take. And then I get everybody and their mother posting on the topic saying that it's crazy. Then I get DMs from people. No offense to a couple of the people that, if you're watching right now, that you DM me, please don't take offense to it. I appreciate all of you. But I get DMs from people saying, Smitty, this isn't a hot take. Smitty, this isn't a bold prediction. And it's like I'm getting argued with on both sides of the aisle to an extreme degree, saying, Smitty, this isn't bold. Are you crazy? Smitty, are you a moron? This isn't bold. This is stupid. And it's just like, make up your mind. It's just funny. It's weird to get hit from both sides of something like that. I wasn't Tom says I wasn't an Odell fan, but he's a stud now. Look what he did with Eli Manning. Give him Baker Mayfield and an offense that's going to live in the red zone. That's the most important part here. Even if Odell has 1,300 even yards, and let's say he doesn't get 100 receptions, maybe he gets 95 or whatever, living in the red zone will open the door to potentially 15 TDs in that offense. That offense is going to go crazy. Landry, what's up, Bird? Odell is the truth. Only 20 likes. Yeah, come on, guys. Landry led the Browns in targets last year with 149 and is still there. I don't see how he can get volume. But you have to factor, Super Cooper is saying that. And Super Cooper, you're not alone. A lot of people, so I'm not saying that's a ridiculous stance. A lot of people share it. But, and Sand is saying, these guys swagger jacked your Montgomery take, brother. Everybody's taking my Montgomery prediction. And I got people in here coming and saying I'm copying from somebody else. Give me a break. Go look at my content. Landry. So the thing Super Cooper. I was going to call you Swagger Cooper. The thing that makes that kind of like a hard statement for me to digest is that you're judging, again, and I led with this, you're judging that offense based on last year. You're looking at last year's numbers and that last year offense, and you're saying, how is there going to be enough targets for an Odell? But can't you say, Super Cooper, that if they add Odell to this offense, they're going to be so much better, extremely better, like to an extreme degree better? Wouldn't you say that? So how can you even consider that Baker, who hadn't even got his feet wet yet, did very, very well, was pretty damn consistent once he got going when you compare him to other players in the league, and you're not giving Baker any room to improve with your stance. You're also not factoring in that offense gets amped up and improves tenfold with the addition of Odell Beckham Jr. So it's like you're judging, and a lot of people are doing this. They're judging last year's numbers and trying to fit them into this year and calculate numbers based on them. You're trying to calculate target share off of an offense that was very limited when you look at it compared to the offense that this will be. And they're going to aggressively unleash everybody. And so I don't mind being in the minority thinking that Baker is going to explode to the degree that I think he'll explode. I don't mind being in the minority thinking that Odell and Nick Chubb paired to Kareem Hunt, you have to have both. Argue that with me and you'll get my blood pressure going. But I don't mind being in the minority on the Chubb, Kareem Hunt, and Odell and Baker Mayfield and NJoku being undervalued debate, topic, stance, whatever. Great points about improvement, Smitty. Thank you. Browns will be passing machine maker. Mayfield will be dominant. I agree. Matthew, Would do DJ? Yeah, I'm sorry, I missed some of this stuff. I'm trying to scroll up and look. Todd Gurley or DJ at pick 8. Matthew, I think Matthew's trying to. Matthew, are you new or are you trying to get under my skin by asking me Todd Gurley versus DJ? Because you're about a 2 rounds off with Gurley's value. Mighty Buffoon, only 20 likes. I already read that, but I need to read that again. 25 likes. Give me some thumbs up, guys. Come on. I know it's late, but shit. I wasn't a fan. Okay, I think I'm caught up. There's a lot of comments up above, but if I missed you, scrolling back down, post again, please. Matthew's new, subscribed yesterday. Okay, Matthew, then I'm not going to yell at you. And when I yell, I do it out of love. I'm like that tough high school coach, okay? Think of me that way. It's tough love. But Matthew, Gurley's done, man, in terms of being the runner he used to be. That's my stance. I'm sticking by it. I have content dating back to January when people had him ranked in the top 1 to 3. And everybody here that's been with me since I started and launched the show, which we've gone from 0 subscribers to 18, almost 1,800 in like 5.5 months, I guess. If you really calculate the fact that I didn't really produce much in January, launched the show kind of in February. So Matthew, Gurley, in my opinion, is done as being that guy he used to be, the arthritis. Everybody kind of knows my stance on that, so I don't want to go over it and have people get upset that I'm beating a bloody dead horse to death twice over. It's kind of like running that face app and making yourself older and then running it again on your older self and then running it again like 3 times. That's what people, I think, feel like when I'm talking about Todd Gurley. So watch my Todd Gurley content, Matthew. There's a video, every other video you can go back, you can see Todd Gurley being talked about. And after you catch up a little bit on that, circle back to me and let's have a good conversation about it. Yeah, I appreciate you, Matthew. Matthew's new. I'm glad Matthew's here. Matthew, it's guys like you that help build this channel, so I can't thank you enough for subscribing. Subscribe to Sleeper U too, as well. If you guys aren't subscribed to sleeperu.com, you're going to love that content. Bold prediction from Mighty Buffoon. Todd Gurley's knees last him until week 8. That is bold, my friend, because I think it'll be sooner. No, here's the honest truth. Could Todd Gurley start 10 games and get minimal amount of carries? Sure. Could he start 16? I don't think there's a shot in that. Could he have a better year than some of my most pessimistic videos and predictions? It's possible, but like Terrell Davis said, when Terrell Davis watched him and talked about this in June, it was very recent, Terrell Davis said he could see that Todd Gurley was done. And he knew because he felt the same way and he could see it. And he thinks that his days of being an elite guy are done. Terrell Davis talked about how he could even run in his final game and do well, and he still knew that he was done. And when you're talking about arthritis and inflammation, it's not something that you can manage. Sand, what are you saying, Sand? I don't care if Gurley goes for $20, I ain't grabbing him. I agree. There's a line in the sand for me, and I'm not gonna. This is almost like I don't want to say that I draft Gurley. That would be almost blasphemy on this channel. But there is a line in the sand. I don't know where the line is. People ask me that a lot. Honestly, I don't want to answer it because I feel like push comes to shove, I may not even grab him. Plus, it's not realistic because no one's going to let him fall to a range that I would even take him. Divine says if Gurley is floating around in the late second, he's grabbing him. Thank you, Divine. Please draft in front of me. I still love you though. You're still my guy. Brown's brutal schedule and Freddie Kitchens' run offense makes it hard to believe in Odell Beckham Jr. having a great year. Well, defenses change from year to year, and so do offenses. And the Browns are going to be very, very tough to contain. Their rushing schedule is more brutal than anything, I think, off the top of my head. I don't have the data in front of me. But, again, defenses change, and I am not concerned. Don't draft him, Outsiders is talking about. Mr. Todd Gurley. Next topic. What are we going to talk about next? What's your preferred fantasy duo? Oh, God. I like a lot of them, man. I like Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers. I like Pat Mahomes and Tyreek Hill. I like There's so many that it's hard to pick. But I think that I love owning Mahomes, man. I don't care what people say. I just so Tyreek Hill and Mahomes is awesome. I do want to own an all KC team and just take that into battle for fun. So maybe we'll do a draft somewhere where you guys follow me and I go join a league somewhere and I disguise myself and we draft all KC players somehow, whether it's an auction, and just see what happens with that team. Because I would love, I don't know, call me crazy, but I would love to own Mahomes, Damian Williams, Travis Kelce, and Tyreek Hill on the same team. I don't know. It just sounds fun. I have a question about Matty Ice, 13 games in the dome. Surely can deliver top 5 numbers. You know, you got Calvin Ridley, you got Freeman catching passes, and then you got, you know, obviously Julio Jones. It's really hard to argue Matty Ice is in top 5. I don't know why I can't stomach putting him at like 4 or 5. I don't know why. I can't argue against it. I just don't find myself drafting him. And I don't really have a good reason. I don't know. It's one of those things, man. I think we all have those players where we find ourselves not owning him. I'm not discrediting him. I'm not calling him a bust, but I definitely find myself not owning him time after time. Just traded Aaron Rodgers for Calvin Ridley and Dante Pettis in a dynasty last week. Depends on who your QB was, but that could definitely work out in your advantage because I think Calvin Ridley is going to be a rising star starting this year, Matthew. So I like that in a dynasty. Pettis could also be good. So Deshaun Watson, you're good. I mean, if you're starting 1 QB or were you starting 2? If you're in a super flex, then it's hard to trade a quarterback like Rodgers. But if you're in a 1 QB league, bro, that's a great sidestep. There you go. 1 QB, Matthew. You're on your way. I like Ridley a lot. I think Ridley can be fantastic. Superflex by Tom. $10. Thank you, sir. Tom, I'm talking anything you want when you want in this chat until somebody outbids you. And I'll still try and talk anything you want. Keep up the great work. Your top 3 of all analysts. Thank you, sir. I do wonder who 1 and 2 are. I have to be number 3 on your list, or you would have said I'm top 2 if I was number 2, and you would have said I'm the number 1 if I was your number 1. So I'm curious who ranks 1 and 2, what I've got to do to beat them in your eyes. And tell me, I don't mind. I want to do it. Tell me what I got to do to be top 1. Matthew dropping the super chat as well. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Matthew. You guys rock, man. Those super chats actually really help. They add up. They also make the live videos more intriguing for me, and it makes me want to do a live. So that's what it's kind of designed for, too. So YouTube is smart, and it makes me want to come back to do a super chat or to do a live video because of the super chat. So thank you, sir. Thank you, Matthew. For the answer, I'll be a listener many months to come, many years to come, Matthew. I can't wait to show you what I can do for your teams, and the bold predictions are proven. Matthew, if you don't know, because you're brand new, Matthew, how did you find us? First of all, was it through just a YouTube recommendation on the side? And if you are new, Matthew, let me let you on about 2. Am I having a stroke? I kept saying that over and over. Let you on. 2 things. 1, we are going to be doing, let me see what Matthew said, years. Josh Jacobs will be horrendous, says Sands. I don't know about horrendous, but I think he is a guy that we're not, I think in our community here, and especially me, I'm not sold on yet because his resume is small. I'm competing for 1. Okay, thank you, Tom. I'm plenty happy with your top 3, but I was just curious what the other 2 had, so I can either, blow them out of the water in your mind. So, Matthew, before, I don't know if you're leaving, but just in case you're leaving, 1, I did a 24-hour live stream in February, and I believe I'm going to do that again in August. I'm hoping it's August 23rd is kind of the date I'm trying to pin down. Trying to convince Miss Smitty. Miss Smitty her jaw dropped when I told her I was doing another live. I could have swore I told her that I was doing that. I'm like, hey, when I do my 24-hour live stream in August, she's like, whoa, what? You're doing another 24-hour straight live stream? And for those that don't know, I built my studio. This is not my studio. I built my studio indoors. I built my studio in my home, and Miss Smitty was a victim of hearing the bell ring every time I got a subscriber all night long for 24 straight hours. I'm doing that again. I'm going to do it right. I'm going to be out and about, be in the studio a lot of the time, but get out about, go watch wings, go watch wings. God, I'm tired. Go eat wings at like a restaurant, eat pizza or whatever, late night, go shopping. Maybe I'll watch a little TV. I don't know. I'm going to do it better this time. Last time I was so worried about somebody leaving the room because I just started the show. This time will be more fun for me to just kind of be natural and do crap because I think it'll be funny. Whereas before it was like trying to get subscribers. I had no subscribers. I just launched a channel. But I'm doing that again. So Matthew, that's one thing. Number two, Matthew, if you don't know, I'm on CBS Sports Radio in Phoenix. It's the longest running fantasy football radio show in the entire world. It's been going 23 years. No one has a longer radio show. Not Matthew Berry. Nobody. It's the longest radio show in the entire planet. And I'm excited to. I'm pretty sure I can announce this, but that I'm going to live stream my hour on that show here on the YouTube channel. So you guys no longer have to go try and find the. You can still listen through CBS Sports affiliate that it'll be broadcast through. I have to say you're the number one fantasy analyst on YouTube. Nobody can ride a scooter and give fantasy advice like you. Thank you, sir. And for those that missed that, Matthew, what he's referring to is that I rode a scooter and gave fantasy football advice. We believe I'm the first ever fantasy football show to perform a show on a electric scooter giving advice live. New subscriber, Matt. Great content and keep up the great work, brother. Hit the thumbs up, people. Thank you, Matt. So, live stream coming. 24 hours straight, Matt. 24 hours straight, mighty. And I'm going to need you guys there because I'm going to be up 24 straight hours. I believe that's what's going to happen. I believe it's going to be August 23rd. I'm not positive yet, but I'll let you know. Then I'm live streaming the CBS Sports radio show, which again is the longest running show in the world. I'll be live streaming that for you guys so you can ask me questions in the chat. I don't know that I can get to all of them because we'll be talking about a lot of topics. I'll post the call-in number. You guys can call in on CBS Sports Radio, ask questions because we'll take your call-ins more than we'll take a lot of the live chats. And then thirdly, guys, I'm very excited to announce, and I don't know I'm announcing stuff before I've even locked it in. I also have a sponsor, a YouTube sponsor that I'll be talking about soon. Get ready for that. It's a daily fantasy sports site. It's not the typical ones. It's a new one. They do some really cool, unique stuff. Pretty excited to have them as a sponsor. But the last thing I want to say is that I will probably most likely be doing a live show every single morning, Sunday morning, before game time. It might be a half-hour show. I'm not positive yet, but get ready for that. So Sunday mornings, you can ask me start bench questions. We'll go over the news, guys that are probable, injury prone. There'll be enough news to get through that half hour, and I'll try and answer as many questions as I can. But that'll probably be a split Instagram and YouTube show. So get ready for that. I'm excited about that because I think that a morning show is going to blow up, especially if I'm doing it here on youtube.com/thefantasyfootballshow and if I'm doing it also on Instagram. So it's going to be fantastic. I can't wait. And I think it's going to be like a half hour on Instagram. Then I'm going to send everybody over to YouTube, or I might try and, share the live between the two in congruent streams. I don't know. I do a lot of congruent stuff. I try and do a lot of things at the same time. Yes, very cool. Sundays will be fun again. Hearing Smitty hit some hot takes. Thank you, sir. I'll buy my girlfriend a pair of shoes so she leaves me alone all day. Smitty, I'm ready for the staying season to start. Can you get on early Sunday mornings? So, Sand, you heard me. Smitty, I took a side bet with Hendy outscoring Gurley because of you, but I believe in the content. That's good, Abe. Abel. You'll be there, Mighty. Yes, sir. Looking forward to it, says Matthew. I constantly tell people you're the best. Thank you, outsiders. I lived in Phoenix for 5 years, says Divine. Good. I love Phoenix. I've never lived anywhere else, but I've traveled around a little bit, but I've never lived anywhere else. I'll tell you when I'm... Mighty says, I'll tell you when I'm dumped my ex-girlfriend. I told my buddies I put her on waivers. Anybody pick her up? Better be careful, man. She's a keeper. Don't put her on waivers too long. I saw an article on Fantasy Pros. Thank you, Tom. Tom dropping the super flex. Tom, what's your question? What's the chance of doing a fantasy league with you and some others? Tom, good question. And I will be doing probably one league. Tom, I will... hopefully, if you turn your notifications on, you can definitely, hear when I'm going live. And when I go live, I'm going to tell people, hey, I'll probably try and plan it more and say, hey, maybe I'll do some kind of contest to give away the spots rather than just go live and random. But what I do is I go live and I do mock drafts. But one time we went live and I said, let's turn it into a league. And then it kind of fell apart because we had some auto drafting go on and a couple of people bailed. So we didn't want to run the league that way. We wanted to redo it. Then people couldn't settle on a time or whatever, and it fell apart. So I'm going to redo that, not with the same people, but if the same people jump in, that's great. But, we don't want any auto drafters. I don't know what happened on that league, but normally the mock drafts fill up in like 30 seconds. So if I announce I'm going live and I'm doing a mock draft, literally in about 35 to 45 seconds, all 12 spots will get taken. I even, one of the last mock drafts, I said, okay, we're going to go live. We're going to do a mock draft. And I said, this one right here. And then my screen was kind of slowed down because I was live streaming and sharing my screen. And I tried to click on it and I was typing in my name and my spot got taken. So then I backed out, tried to grab one of the remaining spots, and all the spots were taken. So we all had to back out and join a new mock draft because I missed my own mock draft. Check my question, Brad. Would love to compete in an expert league. Divine, it won't be an expert league because you typically have to have like a site and be an expert to be in the expert league. But I will do a league with you guys where it's like, subscribers and then myself. So 11 other people. But I will try and announce that before I do it. So Tom, look for that. Turn on your notifications, hit that bell, and make sure you know when I'm going live. That's how you'll have the best chance. Also, be signed into ESPN on your browser. Because if we do one and everyone's got to jump in and grab a spot in the league, if you're not signed in and you have to try and, remember your password or whatever, you're not going to get it. So if your browser's already ready to go, logged into ESPN, you're going to have a much better shot. Brad, I'm looking. Hold on. I'm looking. Where's Brad? Brad's going to get mad at me. I'm looking, Brad. Brad, weird question. Just found you and love the content. Have Mahomes as my keeper for my league at 11. My league at 11 in draft. What do you mean, round 11? Do you go first pick or go 10 pick for the back-to-back? I'm not kind of understanding the question. In your keeper league at 11, do I go first pick or go 10 pick? You mean you have him as a keeper in round 11 and you get to pick whether you want to be the number 1 overall pick or the 10th pick? Meaning you're going to have to write him into your first rounder. Therefore, if you pick the first pick, then you're going to have a late second rounder. Do I have that right? Is that right, Brad? Yep. Okay. Well, clearly you want to take a late second rounder or a late first rounder. That way your second rounder is really close to that Pat Mahomes write-in. You would be doing... Then again, let me think about this for a second. How do I message you? Go to Instagram, Tom, or go to sleeperu.com. Go to sleeperu.com and click on Contact Us at the bottom of the site. You'll see a button. So go to sleeperu.com. That's SLEEPER, the letter U, like university.com, and message me there, Tom. Um, God, that's a tough one. What do you guys think? Let me ask you guys. If you're Brad and you have Pat Mahomes written in at your first rounder, I believe is what he's saying, right, Brad? Then you get to decide what pick you have. If you pick the first pick, then Pat Mahomes gets written in at number 1, and then you get a very close second and third rounder. You know what? I take the late first rounder. I changed my mind, Brad, because I think you're going to land 2 amazing players. I know that, yeah. You have Mahomes at 11 for keepers at 11 keeper. Brad, I'm still not following. If you're writing him in and you get to pick your draft slot, then I definitely take, I changed my mind and I take that number 10 or number 11 overall or whatever. You take the number 1 overall and I write in Mahomes there so that you have back-to-back, like late second and early third round picks, because I think let me backtrack again. What players will be available at your second and third rounders? Because if they're writing in a lot of keepers, then maybe the options aren't going to be amazing down there. So let me backtrack again. Tell me who the best players will be if you go with a late second and early third rounder. Name the 4 most likely players that will be there. Because if that's the case, if they're not going to be that great, then clearly I think you should write Mahomes in as a late first. That way you can pick one of the best players left, and then by the time the end of the second comes around, maybe they're not big names anymore. So I think it all depends on that. There's so many things, so many factors, man. It's really hard to give advice on that. That's why sleeperu.com is amazing, Brad. If you go to sleeperu, SLE, let me type it in here. Go to SLEEPER, Sleeper, U, the letter U. You're not spelling it out. It's not YOU. It's the letter U.com. If you subscribe, then you can get one-on-one advice from me, and I can break that stuff down a lot better because I have the email advice with that product. It's $29 for the whole season, and you get the rankings, the tools, the trade calculator. I invented the trade calculator in 2004, and everybody stole it. I'll be up with you all night trucking with Smitty. David says, talking about the live stream. When I do that, live streaming with Smitty, I have Mahomes at 11 pick, keeper. Do I draft a back at 1 or best available? I always take best player available. I never ever draft based on position. Best player available always, my friend, always. That plug was flawless, Smitty. A young Jordan Belfort. Jordan Belfort from Wolf of Wall Street. Damn straight. Take a lap. Dead issue. Okay. Sorry, Brad. I, for whatever reason, so I drafted first. If you could pick a draft slot, I'm not sure if that's what you were asking. If you could pick a draft slot, I think if the players thin out, if everybody's keeping all these players all over the place, then that late second rounder might not be that valuable, and you might want that top of the second. But definitely love that you have Mahomes. I don't listen to anybody that says he's a bad keeper. All right, guys. Final thoughts before I jump off. I appreciate everybody. I love going live with you guys. You guys are fantastic. What up, Chuck? What up? So Odell Beckham Jr. Odell Beckham Jr. What do you guys think of that? Number 1, I think he could be in fantasy football for all wide receivers in 2019. Don't draft him any higher than you have to. Tom says, Smitty, my last draft, 9th pick, Odell, Hill, or Evans in that order. I think I go in, God, Evans and Hill are like a toss-up, but I think I go Odell, man. I love Odell this year. If you want safe, I feel like Hill's probably safest on the field. Now, could something come up? I mean, here's the funny thing is people think just because everything's good now that Hill's out of the woods, like they can't bring it back up. This isn't double jeopardy. This isn't the law. This is the NFL. And if something emerges, Hill's going to get suspended again. But for right now, he's in the clear. On the field, he's probably the safest. But I think Odell's got the most upside. And Evans has got huge upside too. It's really tough. Those three are awesome. Those are three good wide receivers to own all three of them in an auction and go wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver type mentality. Chuck, you lit? Am I lit? Do I look lit? Easy. What's up, Easy? Haven't seen you in a while, unless you just haven't been commenting. Barkley and Zeke. Well, you are a master. What are you doing here? Just kidding. Should I trade for Kamara, potentially getting the top three running back? Absolutely, but Easy, how are you going to do that? If you can do that, like, absolutely. Own all three of those running backs. I love owning just two of them and cleaning up with two. You sound lit. Do I sound lit? I don't know if I sound lit, do I? I'm tired. Are lit people tired? He thinks I'm lit. He thinks I'm lit. I'm not lit. I'm tired. Oh, guys, I got Barkley and Zeke for $75 in an auction draft. Easy, that's great. How are you going to get the other guy, though? What do you got to give up? What do you got to give up? I'm going to watch Wolf of Wall Street while I do some editing tonight. Yeah, but how are you going to get Kamara? Easy. I think Matthew McConaughey deserved an award. Did he get an award for that role? If you guys don't know what I'm doing right now, if you haven't seen Wolf of Wall Street, you have to. It's like the best movie ever. Julio, number one wide receiver in 2019. IBE. I don't know how to pronounce your username, but I don't know about Julio, number one. I'm not going to argue against it. He could, but I'm definitely not thinking he's going to be number one. In fact, I don't think it'll be this year, but I think heading into next year, we'll be seeing that torch kind of get passed to Calvin Ridley. Nolan. What's up, Nolan? I don't think I've seen you yet today. Julio got a few red flags for me. Damn straight, man. Julio's foot's always a concern. Ridley's rise is not a concern, but I mean, it's going to take away a little bit. Tom, excellent movie. Damn straight. I love Wolf of Wall Street. Tom, are you a movie and TV buff? Because I'll give you 2 or 3 movies. If you think I'm good at sleepers and fantasy football, I'm awesome at it in terms of TV shows and movies too, and I'll give you a couple that you need to watch. But if you're not a TV buff, then is there for Kamara? I'm going to give Breeze, Edelman, and Carrion. Yeah, easy. If you pull that off, I totally would give that up. No question about it. It's freaking fantastic. Okay, so Tom, have you seen Ray Donovan? That's not a total sleeper, but some people haven't seen it. But Ray Donovan is one of the best shows on TV, like by far. Freaking love Ray Donovan. So I think it's over. I'm sad. Makes me sad. What's up, Hunter? Great show. Ray Donovan's freaking fantastic. If you haven't seen that, Tom, that it's on Showtime. Showtime has like a free 7-week trial, I think. Oh, you've seen it? Okay. Banshee. If you haven't seen Banshee, holy smokes, guys. That was the most unexpectedly awesome show I've ever seen. It's like so unknown, and it's in my top 5 overall. Banshee. 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 You have, bro? I'm sure you've seen Spartacus. Let me think of one you may not have seen. Have you seen Borgia? I don't know that it's on Netflix anymore, so I don't know how you're going to find it. On Netflix, it has The Borgias, which is the same exact story, but a version told by Showtime, which they canceled, so you can't even finish it. But Borgia, singular, Borgia, kind of slow moving in the beginning, but is freaking amazing. Tom, you seen Borgia too? I don't think I ever run into anybody that's seen all of those. Wish me luck, man. Yes, easy. Let us know if you land that. Edelman is your starting wide receiver. I don't care. Get rid of Edelman. Edelman's so overvalued. I'm not saying he can't be good, but what do you think about 100 on Netflix? 100 is good. What is another show? I'm sure you've seen Ozark. Ozark's fantastic too. All right, guys, I am out of here. Sorry for getting that stuck in your head, Matt. No, Matt, you can't apologize for getting Wolf of Wall Street stuck in my head. That's amazing. I love it. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I appreciate you. Always appreciate you guys. You guys rock. You make the show. You make. Please hit the thumbs up on your way out. I really do appreciate that. It helps me so much. I'm gonna do a mock draft soon, where I go live. I tell you I'm mock drafting. I give you guys the mock draft number, and then you guys jump in and fill that in like a heartbeat. So probably do, I would say, ESPN. So get your ESPN account logged into your browser so you're good to go and ready. All right, guys, I appreciate you. Subscribe, thumbs up, spread the word. My goal is to bring you a daily show in fantasy football at the same time every day, and still release the one-off videos and still do the lives, but I want you guys to count on like a 10 to 2 show, a 4 to 7 p.m. show. I'm going to bring that to you. I don't know when. It all depends on how fast we grow. So your guys' help is required. But once I get there, we're taking over. And I think we're already, people love this show, man. And it's not just, I'm not trying to say, oh yeah, pat myself on the back. Like, you guys help make this show. Your personalities, the questions you ask, the interaction, the fun we have. You guys are a part of it as much as I am. And we're from the ground floor, man. We're the first couple thousand, all of us together here, the first couple thousand people here, and we're going to grow it up from here. By December, I hope to have 10,000 YouTube subscribers. I'd be really shocked if we didn't. And then from there, heading into this time next year, who knows what number we're going to be at. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Subscribe, thumbs up.